My dad actually was the one told me that I should go. And I'm an only child, by the way.
Oh, okay.
And my dad
Wow.
was like, no one gets this kind of opportunities and you cannot turn this down. I'm not going to be selfish. Like he told me, I'm not going to be selfish. I think this is a great opportunity for you and you should take it.
Welcome to Versfeld Hugo Immigration Podcast, where we bring you real stories, real journeys, and real insight into navigating the US immigration system. Just a quick note before we begin. Every case is different, and while we'll be sharing experiences today, this isn't legal advice. It's meant just to educate, encourage, and give you a window into what the process can look like. Our guest today has kindly agreed to share her story with full permission, and we're very grateful for her willingness to help others who may be walking a similar path. If you're navigating your immigration process, we always recommend that you get advice specific to your case. So with that, let's dive in. So she arrived in America not speaking any English, carrying only a cello, a dream and extraordinary talent. And today, Turkish-born cellist and composer Ezgi Karakus performs on world-renowned stages, collaborating with international artists like Yo-Yo Ma, and has become part of a cultural heartbeat here in our town, Kansas City. But behind the music is a story of courage, of immigration, sacrifice, and reinvention with a purpose. So this story is chasing excellence across continents and discovering home through music. Today we are joined by extraordinary artist, Turkish-born cellist, composer, vocalist and internationally recognized musician Ezgi Karakus. Ezgi has performed around the world, appeared at Carnegie Hall, collaborated with incredible musicians and has become an important part of Kansas City art community. Ezgi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. So happy to be here.
Wonderful. Ezgi, I think maybe just before we get started, it is going to be distracting for those listening and watching us, constantly wanting to know the instruments behind you. So if you won't mind, could you maybe share with us the instruments that are behind you?
Sure. I have a lot of instruments around here. This is my studio. So the one you see it right over here, I'm just gonna kind of touch it.
The one against the wall.
That is called kemençe. It's a bow instrument. It's from Black Sea part of Turkey. So they actually kind of stand and play. And the other one right below, under that kemençe, it's called oud. This is a Persian oud. It's basically grandfather of guitar.
Gotcha.
It's been around for thousands of years, I will say, and they still play for Middle Eastern and Turkish music, sometimes even jazz. And the other one on the right side behind me, that instrument is called African harp. It's actually Ngoni. My dear musician friend, Amado Espinosa made that for me.
Wow.
And it's very spiritual. They play, so many people use that blend with like flamenco and like these African like folk tunes, and many groups actually use that instrument. So yeah.
And Ezgi, tell me, of all three of those instruments, I take it you can play all three of them?
I will say not. I could definitely play if I spend enough time, but
Sure.
right now I'm probably not in that level of like performing. But I love instruments. I just keep buying instruments. I just bought another darbuka, which is a drum. So
Oh,
I always want to like keep learning, you know.
wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
Ezgi, take us back to your childhood in Turkey. I mean, what was life growing up there?
You know, it was great because where I'm from is west coast of Turkey. It's like right across to Greece. So I grew up on the beach. So I remember myself swimming. I don't remember my childhood without in the water. So I was always outside playing with my friends. It was a beautiful life. Our weather was always like California. You know, I never actually seen snow in my life before I moved to the States. So it was beautiful. Like, weather. I never had like, I don't know, warm coats in my life and, you know, like snow boots. And yeah, it was
Quite,
definitely
quite,
different.
quite different from where you live now. You're in Kansas City,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, no
yeah, it's very
beaches,
different. No beaches,
no
no
California
water.
weather.
Yeah, no water. I
Well,
know.
we'll get to that here in a little bit. But tell me, when did you first discover music? When did that become part of who Ezgi is?
So when I was little, my parents bought me a little like toy keyboard, and
Yeah.
after that they just realized that I'm spending all my time with that little keyboard, and they were like, "Oh, I think she's into music, so we should maybe take her to some courses," you know. And none of my family are musicians, by the way. So they kind of, I feel like they learn with me, with my passion, like everything, you know, along the way. So they started taking me. So first they took me to a guitar lessons, and I was so little. I was, I think, 9 years old. And I think the size of the guitar was too big for me, and I couldn't reach the like positions, and every night I was crying. So my parents were like, "Oh, this is not working well, so let's take her to, you know, piano lessons." And it
Hmm.
was going pretty good, and that time they kept also taking me to live music concerts, like almost every week. So one day we went to Bremen String Quartet concerts. They came from Germany to have a string quartet recital, and my parents took me to that concert. And I still remember, like, I saw the cellist, and I told my parents I want to play that, and my parents were like, "Good luck to us," because that instrument was big, like, you know. And then I auditioned for conservatories, and I started playing cello. I believe I was 12 years old.
Wow. And so is that where you would say there was a change between when this became more than just a hobby, where you're like, okay, I'm going to take this
Yes,
serious at 12
I
years
was
old already, huh?
I was obsessed with cello.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to play that. And even I remember in the auditions,
Hmm.
you know, so many teachers come. Like, the system is a little bit different in Turkey, how you audition and how they pick you for certain
Hmm.
instruments. And, you know, lots of teachers were coming to pick me for like other instruments. And I was like, nope, I want to play cello.
Cello.
I was like, you know, turning them down, like, which is crazy. I mean, you shouldn't do that, but
And I mean, just like parents over here make sacrifices for their kids, you know, once they find something that's more than a hobby and like, okay, I think she actually likes this, I'm sure that your family probably made a lot of sacrifices to help support your dream.
yes, I mean, I am who I am right now because of them, I think. They made, like, they did everything for me to be able to reach my, you know, goals. And like, they really supported my passion. You know,
Mm.
as a musician, it's hard to find a supportive parents for specifically for that kind of art and music, you know.
Hmm.
Everyone wants their kid to have a salary, like, not take too, you know, don't take too much risk. And you
Hmm.
know, but my parents just, you know, they really like supported me all the way, so I'm very thankful.
That's awesome, Ezgi. Well, at some point in time, during your time in Turkey, there's probably a time where you're like, okay, I'm going to leave Turkey and I'm going to go to America. So what motivated you to come to America?
So I was last year of my college studies,
Hmm.
and this cellist came to my school to have a recital, and I played for him. And it was Dr. Dickener, and he uh, worked with really amazing French cellist called Paul Tortader in France. So I'm a fan, of course, for that cellist. And when he came, I was like, I need to play for him. I want to study with him. So
Hmm.
I played for him, and he asked my recordings after I played for him because he knew I think it's really difficult to get a visa just to even come here for an audition.
Hmm.
So he asked me if I have any recordings, and I gave it to him. And then he, I think, showed it to juries at Marshall University, and
Hmm.
they invited me. Actually, they were like, we would like to, like he was like, I want you to be in my studio, and the school is inviting you, so you will get all these, like, they offer me like things, and scholarship, of course, and but I didn't have English, so but I still came, so
So, I
it
mean, that
was,
must have been probably pretty hard coming over here, not really knowing how to speak English. So
yeah,
that
it
must
was.
have been very intimidating. I mean, how did you overcome that part?
Yeah, it was very difficult. So, I was very scared to actually come here without the language. My dad actually was the one told me that I should go. And I'm an only child, by the way.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and my dad
Wow.
was like, no one gets this kind of opportunities, and you cannot turn this down. I'm not gonna be selfish. Like, he told me, I'm not going to be selfish. I think this is a great opportunity for you, and you should take it. So he actually, like, kind of encouraged me to go, like, without a language. And they actually told me that there's English courses, like, you can come
Hmm.
here, learn English while we're going to offer you be a principal in the orchestra, and you will still take cello lessons for free, like, until you learn your English to be able to start your master's degree, basically. So that was
Hmm.
kind of the offer, like, they kind of gave me. And I came, and it was very difficult. It
I can
was,
imagine.
and my cello got broken on the way.
Oh,
So
no.
yeah, it was very tough time for me. I think I will say I was very depressed for first 7 months of first year, actually, whole year, in 2009. Yeah, for me. Yeah.
It's strange because we interviewed a percussionist. His name is Luis Conte. He is from Cuba. And he was sharing a similar story where he first came to America, but he was a young boy when he came over here. Also, didn't speak any English. And you know what
Wow,
he said on how he learned English? He said he learned English by just watching American TV all day, all
that's
day long.
great. I I was like, every day I was going to my English lessons, like, all day. I mean, half of the day, every day I had English courses, and I was coming back to the dorm without knowing what was my assignment next day. Like, I was very frustrated. And never forget that time we didn't even have smartphones. Like, I was having a, Skype with my parents, and we were
Yeah.
trying to figure out what is my assignment for tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
Spend like hours in online together, just try to figure out what is the assignment. And it was very, yeah, frustrating.
So Iski, I mean, obviously the language was a pretty big barrier. What was one of the other hardest parts that you say was difficult as far as adapting to life in America?
I mean, I will say kind of everything. You kind of need to adapt because
Hmm.
food is different. Like, I mean, everything is different. The way you interact with people is different. And, my mind, I grew up, I now I call it, I have a Turkish brain. So I just because now I have to like, let people know that, be aware of it,
Yeah,
that I think differently
that's right.
and I feel differently because I grew up differently. So, I think everything was different and you gotta kind of adapt to it, like get used to it and
Yeah, you know what?
accept.
I think many people underestimate how emotionally difficult it is when you immigrate to a different country.
Oh yeah.
Um, what did that journey feel like for you, the immigration portion of it?
You know, so I will say when I finished my master's degree, actually, my parents thought that I'm coming back to
Okay.
Turkey. And I just realized that I wasn't done yet. Like with my, I told my parents, you know what, I think I'm gonna audition more because I feel like I can do it. And everyone was kind of like my friends. They were like, oh, are you sure? Like doctorate seems so crazy. Like I don't think you can do it. So when someone tells me you cannot, I get I'm like, no, I can. Like, so
Now I'm
then
going to
I
prove
start
to you I can.
kind of, and it was
Yeah.
kind of, I sign up for it. Like first thing I think about, it was very frustrating. Immigration time, like you cannot travel anywhere. I couldn't see my family, for a long time. Um, and but at the same time, this was what I wanted. So I always try to like kind of make my mind like, balance my thoughts and my feelings to it just because, you know what, no one forced you to do this. You want it. So drink some water, breathe, and keep doing it. Like I kind of had to like kind of be my own therapist. Otherwise, it's very difficult to handle it. I know so many of my friends moved back. They couldn't handle it. Like they just give up.
Yeah.
And
How,
yeah.
how important would you say it is to have the right immigration guidance and legal support during this
So
process?
important.
Yeah.
So important. You feel like you know, you're in an ocean with like no guidance if you are trying to deal this by yourself, or even like when you started, you just don't know where to even start. So I think finding a great, lawyer, someone who knows everything, just will give you like all the steps. That's so important. Yeah, so important. Otherwise, I feel like, I felt I'm like lost before I actually started my, case. Like back in time, I just didn't know where to start. I asked so many people, and I didn't trust my English, even though I was doing my doctorate. Even right now, when you try to sign up for a health insurance thing, terms are different. Everything
That's
is,
right.
so like every field has different vocabulary that if you don't know 100%, how are you going to feel confident? I don't know. This is
Was
what
there
I
time
think.
during this immigration process where you kind of like, um, where you questioned or where you felt that things aren't going to work out? It was going to hit and miss, or tell us just a little bit about that journey. Or did you feel
Yeah.
confident from the beginning? It's like, all right, got the right guy here, and we're going to make this happen, and no doubt at all, and just move forward.
So I actually, yeah, I kind of didn't have hope first. And you know, everyone kept telling me that I should apply for O1 instead of extraordinary ability. But I was like, I do not wanna keep applying to things. And I'm doing like I am, doing my job like professionally, like as a musician, plus taking it in a graduate level education. And I was teaching in many colleges that time as well. I was like, I do not want to just keep applying every 2 years or like every 3 years. I just want I want to prepare everything. I want to do it once and I want to be done with it. So that's why when I search for the cases that I'm eligible, and when I found that, I was like, okay, all I need to find is the right person that I can work with.
Yeah.
Then they can give me, and that was you, because I search a lot. So many people told me about this lawyer in LA, one in New York, but they were always doing things by email. I didn't want that. And I know that you are pretty known in Kansas City, and especially with the KC Sporting players, So, and when I got your name, I was like, I think I found my person.
Well, I'm
So,
glad
and
we found one another.
yeah, I'm so glad too. Yeah, it worked out great. But even the first meeting we had together, I was like, I don't even know if I can get this case. Because I don't know if you remember, you asked me if I have an article in New York Times.
Well, I know that was just kind of an example. I mean, we were just trying to
Yeah,
digest and see what you got and what
I
you don't
know.
got.
So I had many times, like after even we submitted our case, I had many times like feeling that, oh, this must be like impossible, kind
Yeah.
of. I felt that many times, but also like I made my mind too, so I was like, I will do it, whatever it takes, and see what happens, kind of.
Yeah, and sometimes, it just takes some creativity.
Yeah,
You can't envision that Congress would think of each and every extraordinary case of an athlete, of a
yeah,
cellist, of
yeah.
a soccer player,
So many different
and
fields,
come up with any and all kinds of scenarios. So when they set out their outline of what the criteria is, where they've got, you've got 10 of these extraordinary criteria of which you need to meet 3 of, and show that, you're going to prospectively benefit the United States after you get your green card. Some of these criteria don't always fit like a glove. And so it's important then to kind of figure out what other elements can we bring in order to support that, that particular criteria. And that's where we need to get a little bit creative. Maybe we
yeah,
find an
very
expert
creative.
that writes a little bit about the newspaper in Ankara, and explain to
Yeah,
us what's the significance of this major newspaper in Ankara that makes such a
yeah,
big deal of Ezgi, who's gone to America. It may just be the equivalent of the New York Times, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that first year actually, when in Marshall University, I won a competition. That was the newspaper article about it, because it was kind of big deal. I got the first prize, and then like it was nationally, like kind of was in the newspaper. But it's hard to be able to submit that here and no one knows.
No, that's right. No, that's
Yeah,
right. That's right.
yeah.
Well, Iski, let me ask you this. What does America represent to you today? I mean, you've now gone through this journey. Obviously, you still have family back in Turkey. But
Yeah.
today, as you sit here, after having gone over that big hump of immigration, and what would you say
Yeah,
America
I mean,
means for you today? You've got some
honestly,
good perspective. Americans don't have perspective because they didn't live in Turkey. They don't live in South Africa.
yeah,
So what does
you
America
know,
mean to you today?
I think America is, home, honestly. Like, sometimes it's so, okay, very interesting feelings. I get like very different feelings time to time about Turkey as well. Like Turkey is always home, right? My family are there, but kind of, America is my second home. Like I do my job here. I wanted to do my job here. I wanted to, create more, and the opportunities that I got here, that was exactly what I imagined myself to be in. I think I definitely, I mean, like everyone, it's gonna sound very cliche, but also like in music, like I really think that I got more opportunities, especially like playing world music, which wasn't going to happen, I feel like, in Turkey if I was in Turkey, So I will say it's definitely home. I love my people here, and I travel nationally here. So like, I feel like New York is home too, So like, I mean, yeah, whole country. I will say, yeah, I feel like I'm part of here.
So when you were 12 years old, you picked up that cello and you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Would you have ever thought in your wildest dreams that you would perform at Carnegie Hall or even collaborate with some incredible musicians like Yo-Yo Ma here in Kansas City? I mean, was that something that you even imagined?
No. I mean, I feel like things, when you start something, of course, like my goals were always very humble. I will say, I was like, oh, like I should do this, but it always opened up something bigger for me, But I think that was really important to make your goals and like dreams a little bit humble. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that, it's like, of course you can dream big. I mean, I was dreaming big, but I was starting like kind of step by step, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think I never thought that I will actually play at Carnegie Hall or Lincoln Center, Merkin Hall. I mean, beautiful venues that I have been performing like past 3 years. It's just such a dream come true, And how you get there is definitely because I'm in the States. I will say that.
So that platform has definitely created and opened up opportunities you wouldn't have otherwise had, right?
Yes.
So what would you say is your proudest moment as an artist? It may be something that you did performing, or it may be something not as an artist. What would you say is your proudest
actually, like my proudest moments, doing like first thing, coming here by myself with no English and try to learn live. Mm-hmm. I think that will kind of be ongoing proudest times in my life. And now, like, throw me in an island, I will survive because I think I can find with the cello.
Sure, throw me in an island, but make sure I get my cello with me.
I think I will survive. That's how I feel, which is a great feeling.
That's great.
I think that's kind of, and if I'm thinking about, cello is my life, definitely. And I'll be able to do that masterclass with Yo-Yo Ma. It's another proudest moment in my life. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are so many. I feel like it's not just my job, but like the life experiences I have. I think a lot of proudest moment through my parents.
I was just going to say, it takes me back to a comment you made earlier about your dad said, listen, I feel I need to kick you out of the nest, and I know you're going to fly, and I'm here to catch you if you fall. And that just gave you that confidence to stand back today and say, I feel so confident because I know my dad is there and my family's there to support me no matter what. You can throw me on an island and I can still do it.
Exactly. And many times, like, I was almost giving up. Like, I never forget, like, many times, even like in Kansas City after I moved here to like my first year, I thought about quitting. And my dad, like, he's kind of like my hero, honestly. Like, he listens to me. He like watches me cry, like struggle, doesn't say anything. And after a while, if I keep going and I'm almost about to like give up, he tells me, okay, just come back. I'll buy your ticket tomorrow. And then that makes me, it's like, no, wait a minute. If my dad tells me that means I'm really failing right now. Like, and I get in the moment and I told him, like, I always tell him, like, I'll call you tomorrow. And then all night I can't sleep. I'm like, I need to just really think, am I gonna give up? Like, do I want this or not? Like, really? And write stuff, pros, cons about like all my life again, like how many times I have done that. And at the end, I stayed. It's like, And I told my dad, no, actually, I'm staying, never mind. And then I stopped crying.
I love it.
Because, yeah, my dad knows me very well, I think.
Very
Yeah.
inspiring, Ezgi. I mean, so, but to that point, how did Kansas City become home? And what would you say make Kansas City arts community kind of special?
I did my doctorate here, and during that time, like, I made great, I met with great musicians. I was already like working a lot, which I kind of like put myself in like situations, even though I was a student, I didn't want to be just only going to school. So what I was doing in my free times, like going out, listen to live music, make connections, all those things. And I saw beautiful like art and music scene and very supportive audience. And that made me, I was like, oh, actually, this is very nice. And I met really like worldly known, great musicians in Kansas City. So, and I was surprised, like anyone else who comes visit me right now, and they are like, whoa, actually, Kansas City is nice. Like, there's always music every day.
But
So
I mean,
that made me
UMKC has a
actually,
great conservatory as well as Park
oh,
University.
yeah, great. Oh, yeah, it's great. Like, teachers are great. Yeah, they're all like, I mean, internationally known, and yeah, great education, that's for sure.
And then you stick around and Kansas City's become home.
Yeah, it kind of did. I mean, I definitely like to be here, based in Kansas City. And as you know, I do a lot of like concerts here the whole year, whole, all year around. Like, I play here a lot, but I also travel.
Of
So,
course, and it's so easy to go to New York, fly,
yeah,
go to LA, fly
yeah,
from here and hop over to Europe. Yeah,
yeah.
I've represented some other athletes and some very high-end athletes that ends up living here in Kansas City. And I asked these guys, I'm like, you come from Europe. What is it
Yeah.
about Kansas City that you like? And the one guy just summed it up. He says, because it's easy. And at first I didn't understand. But you know what? Having been in LA, having been in New York, it's difficult to just
Oh,
get from one place to the other as far as
oh yeah.
commuting is concerned. The anxiety, the
Oh,
tenseness of navigating traffic and the amount of people. And you know what? Such a great place to raise a family.
yeah. So like, in New York, when I have a rehearsal at 10 a.m., I wake up at 7:30. But here, I mean, 10 a.m., I will wake up like 9:30.
There you go.
It's so easy here. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cheaper.
Yes, that
I'm
helps.
comparing it with like New York, and yeah, it's definitely easy.
And let me pivot a little bit. So, look, I know that you're not just a classical musician. You blend Turkish, Middle Eastern, flamenco, contemporary influences. So, why this cultural fusion? Why? How is that important to you?
So, yeah, it's actually, this is what I was talking about as an opportunity, and how it changed me a lot, like as a musician. So, as a Turkish musician, whoever meets me, they were always asking about Turkish music. And I studied classical music. So I was trained as classical musician. And, I was thinking about like, oh, they're asking me Turkish music, which I did not study. But I know, like I grew up with it. So, and I become, especially like after, I will say 2018, after I play for Yo-Yo Ma and I did that arrangement from Turkish folk tunes to a solo cello, I just realized that I have a reason to be here as a musician and not just play one genre. What is music? Like, I started asking myself, like, what is actually music? Is it just classical music? Like, and I just realized that I was a little bit in the very limit. I kind of felt like limited. But I knew that I'm not limited, but it was my mind. So I just started really diving into like learning more about world music as a Turkish musician living in Kansas City, what's going on. And I'm so interested about that, which Yo-Yo does the same thing, And I still play with as a, substitute cellist, like in Kansas City Symphony. I'm part of, this Turkish American orchestra and based in New York, like play in Fayetteville, Arkansas, another orchestra. I'm still doing my classical, what I studied for, but I also wanted to kind of like challenge myself and learn more about how can I collaborate with different artists from different backgrounds, and what, you just because you learn every time when you collaborate with different genres, you learn something new, and I love that.
So how important would you then say it is to preserve cultural heritage while innovating artistically, if that makes sense?
It's so important because we are all, actually, it's all, when you look at one picture, we are all in one. You know what I mean? Everything is influenced by everything. So, it's musically speaking, if we think about music history, everything was coming from folk tunes. And those folk tunes, every countries had different folk tunes and different rhythms. And they all got influenced by different composers, and they make music using those musical details in their compositions. But in Western writing, so we call it classical music, but it has folk influence.
Gotcha.
Bartok, for example, another, known composer, he traveled to Turkey, collect all these Turkish folk tunes, and he was using all these Turkish rhythms in an orchestra setting, right? Wrote lots of like symphonies and pieces. And everyone knows as Aksak rhythms, they are Turkish rhythms. So I think it's so important to think about, different cultures, because we are all influenced by each other. There is not really like one unique, like everything is unique and beautiful and all influenced.
So you mentioned earlier about the fact that, your training wasn't really in Turkish music, but you grew up in the Turkish culture. Do you find yourself in a situation where maybe people are looking at you as representing the Turkish culture on this global stage that you're in? And, do you feel any kind of responsibility of making sure that, that's still part of who you are and what you do artistically?
Yes. That's how I also feel now. I didn't have that before. And because of that, actually, I totally created this new project with two of my American friends, which is Turkish disco funk.
I love it.
Yeah, and it's like all kind of 70s vibe.
Okay.
And I'm writing all these songs, all original compositions, and I'm singing in Turkish, and my first show is tomorrow, actually.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and that's because I really feel like I'm responsible to be, to present a little bit of Turkish music.
Is there, tell me a little bit, is there a lot of women artists from Turkey? And it may be an ignorant question.
No, there are many, actually.
Okay, gotcha.
But I don't know in Kansas City, but
Gotcha.
many Turkish women artists. Yeah, singers and instrumentalists. Yeah.
So, Ezgi, what advice would you give to a young immigrant artist who's pursuing what they may seem to be an impossible dream?
I will say, follow your goal instead of make someone's dream come true. Like, just, focus on yourself and just see what's gonna feed your soul, and what is the projects and dream you want to do, and follow that instead of saying yes to everything.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Do you still have a dream that you're chasing and that you would like to achieve? What's your next goal?
Oh yeah. I want to travel more, play everywhere. All this, I have other projects that I'm collecting all these Turkish composers who wrote some cello pieces, and I'm gonna have that project coming up, hopefully. And also, I want to travel with that too, because I want people to know about, Turkish composers, and I think it's so many beautiful things in that. And I feel responsible to do that, and that's kind of like goals, and I want to keep traveling. That's like my
So
definitely my
what would you
dream.
then say would be the legacy that you would hope to leave behind? It's a very deep question.
Yeah, this is a very deep question. I don't know if people will even like know me when I'm gone, but I'm definitely trying to leave some things that they might find at some point in their life. Oh, there was this cellist, or there was this Turkish artist did this, and I found this recording. So I want to actually record more stuff, I will say. Even though that's like financially a lot of money to
Sure.
be able to do that, and you actually don't make money anymore
Yeah.
because from all those albums you do, but that's something kind of you leave behind.
So obviously the music will always be part of your legacy of what you've created, what you've sang. Hopefully this video will live on in infamy as well, so
Yeah,
people will say,
also this, yeah.
this is somebody that I can get encouragement from.
Uh-huh.
But what would you say to someone terrified at this point, taking a leap into this unknown? Just say, go for it, or call my dad?
Go for it. So again, like I always just, I talk to a lot of people, because my friends always ask me, I am the only one got my citizenship. And they are still, my other friends, they are still actually struggling with O1 visa. And they always ask me, or someone who's actually trying to start this process. And I always tell them, like, it's difficult, but do you really know? Do you really want it? Because if you want it, no one will stop you.
Yeah.
Like, I basically try to, like, make them realize that this is something that they want to do and no one can stop them. So go for it. But you really need to get that, like, in you, because you will have a lot of emotional struggle on the way. It's not easy.
But that's what they say, difficult things aren't easy. If it was easy,
Yeah,
then
exactly.
everybody would be doing it, right?
Yeah, and I also, what I want to leave behind, definitely like my story, I hope someone will be like, get some encouragement through
Of
this.
course. Obviously, it's very, very inspiring. Stories like yours is a powerful reminder that immigration is ultimately about human potential. It's about courage, it's about talent, sacrifice, and creating
Everything.
some beauty in completing in a completely new world.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I will just tell them, like, go for it if you want it.
If you want it.
Because you need to, like, every morning you wake up and you need to tell yourself, I wanted this.
That's
No
right.
one forced me to do,
Yeah.
And that way you understand that, okay, well, you know what, I gotta deal with it. So then you get all your emotions, like, kind of, you have to be your own therapist again, like.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, Ezgi, I want to thank you again so much for sharing your story with us. For those of you who listen to us, I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and so please subscribe and share and follow the Versfeld Immigration Podcast. At Versfeld and Hugo, we help artists like Ezgi, athletes, entrepreneurs, professionals who pursue their American dream, and we help with legal strategies in order to make that happen. So thank you for watching, Ezgi. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. Same for me. I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, Ezgi. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. If you are considering or at the start of your immigration process, we encourage you to connect with us at versfeldimmigration.com. Your immigration journey starts here.